In the headlines, Natasha Akpoti-Oduaghan takes oath of office as senator. Civil society raised concerns over new resident electoral commissioners. Accountant General gets ultimatum to provide details on COVID-19 spending. On the foreign scene, 195 Palestinians killed, 120 others missing in strikes on Jabalia region. Hello there, good afternoon and welcome to Trust News Update. I'm Abdullahi Ahmed. We start the news at the National Assembly as Natasha Akpoti-Oduaghan has been sworn in as Senator for Kogi Central Senatorial District. This followed her presentation with the certificate of return by the Independent National Electoral Commission as the duly elected Senator for Kogi Central. Natasha, who is elected on the platform of the People's Democratic Party, becomes the first female senator from Kogi State. Earlier on Tuesday, the Court of Appeal in Abuja upheld Natasha Akpoti's election as the duly elected candidate in the Kogi Central senatorial election held earlier in February. The court dismissed the appeal filed by Abubakar Ohere of the All Progressives Congress for lacking merit. YAG Africa, a non-profit organization promoting participatory democracy, human rights and civic participation, has faulted the nomination and confirmation by the Nigerian Senate of some of the new resident electoral commissioners for being politically partisan. The executive director, YAG Africa, Samson Itodo, says the development will undermine the electoral process and principle of neutrality by the election umpire. Itodo says appointing partisan individuals as resident electoral commissioners shows a lack of commitment to free, fair, credible and transparent elections. He argues that some of the nominees confirmed by the Nigerian Senate are partisan, adding that they did not meet the constitutional test of non-partisanship while citing Section 156 as well as paragraph 14 of the third schedule. Itodo says if Nigeria elections are to develop in quality, it must be seen to be conducted without biases from the electoral umpire. The Nigerian Senate had confirmed the appointment of 7 out of the 10 nominees appointed by President Bola Tinubu. The 3 other nominees were not present during Wednesday's screening and confirmation exercise. Elsewhere, a Rivers State High Court sitting in Isiokpo on Wednesday issued an interim order restraining the Rivers State House of Assembly from proceeding with the planned impeachment of Governor Sim Fubara. The court restrained the Speaker of the House, Martin Ameule, the Deputy Speaker, Dumle Mao, and the Clerk of the House, as well as the State Chief Judge, Justice Simeon Chibuzo Amadi. Justice O. Ben White issued the restraining order after Fubara's lawyer, Damien Okoro, argued before him on an ex parte application. The judge, in his ruling, ordered the parties in the case to maintain the status quo pending the application of the motion on notice. The case has been adjourned to 14th of November 2023 for the argument of the motion on notice. The House of Representatives is investigating the expenditure of 100 billion naira COVID-19 funds and has issued an ultimatum to the Accountant General of the Federation to submit detailed report on the utilization of the funds released by the Buhari administration to ministries, departments and agencies between 2020 and 2022. The Chairman, House Committee on Public Accounts, Bamidele Salami, issued the notice in Abuja while expressing dismay at the Accountant General of the Federation's non-compliance with the resolution of the committee to submit a report on October 27. While issuing the ultimatum, Representative Salami explains that the House had mandated the committee to investigate the expenditure incurred under the COVID-19 interventions. The Public Accounts Committee had sent a letter to the Accountant General asking for details of all releases pursuant to the provisions of the Appropriation Act, as well as other interventions captured by the releases from the Central Bank of Nigeria to different ministries, departments, and agencies of government. Staying with developments in the National Assembly, the House of Representatives is set to probe the 800 billion naira expenditure by the Nigeria Population Commission for the conduct of the 2023 population and housing census. This was sequel to the adoption of a motion moved by Aguta Federal Constituency Representative Dominic Okafor. The motion sought to investigate the expenditure of the postponed 2023 population and housing census by the National Population Commission to conduct the National Population and Housing Census in Nigeria. The national census, which was last conducted in 2006, was slated for May 3rd to May 7th, 2023, but was postponed indefinitely by the Buhari administration. Elsewhere, commanders of a peacekeeping task force in Yache Ijegu community of Cross River State have arrested suspects in connection with the killing of a soldier during last weekend's communal clash between Yache and Tiv communities from Benue State. Now, the attack reportedly claimed the lives of 20 persons from both sides, and a number of houses were set ablaze during the clashes. Reports indicate that some of the arrested suspects, including those receiving treatment of gunshot wounds in hospital, have been taken into custody. The management of Obafemi Awolowo University, Ile-Ife, is going to meet with officials of the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC, following the arrest of 69 suspected internet fraudsters, many of whom are students of the university. 58 of the students arrested by EFCC were later released late on Wednesday. Officials of EFCC in a midnight raid stormed hostels outside the OAU campus, including Fine Touch and Superb hotels in the Oduduwa estate, Ile-Ife, breaking into rooms and arresting the students. According to the Student Union President, Akiremi Ojo, on Wednesday, the union had details of 72 students picked up from the hostels, with phones and cars being taken away by EFCC operatives. The president of the student union demanded the release of the students while condemning the approach of the arrest by EFCC. And in related development, the chairman of the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC, Ola Olukoyede, has ordered the discontinuation of night sting operations across all EFCC commands. Olukoyede gave the directive in Abuja on Wednesday in reaction to the arrest of 69 suspected internet fraudsters in Ile-Ife, Osun State, by operatives of the Ibadan Zonal Command of the EFCC. The spokesperson for the anti-graft agency, Dele Oyewale, made the announcement in a statement released to newsmen. According to the EFCC, many of the suspects duly profiled by the command have been released, while profiling of suspects yet unreleased will be completed without further delay. Now, dates are popular fruits, especially in northern Nigeria, with a huge demand all year round. The recent shortages being experienced by marketers of the commodity is causing a major disruption due to supply shortfalls occasioned by the Nigeria-Niger border closure. Now, this development is negatively impacting the businesses of marketers in Babaldu of Birnin Kudu local government area of Jigawa State, as Adamu Imam reports.
Babaldo is a popular destination for dates of different varieties along Bauchi and Jigawa State. Selling dates has become the main occupation of most people in the area. The fruit is popular for its taste, nutritional, medicinal, and religious value, making it a higher marketable commodity. Over the years, dealers of the commodity like Alhaji Adamu make bank selling dates, but now the tides have changed and the market is gradually shrinking. If the border remains closed, people will continue to suffer. This dates business, I testify that the whole of Nigeria, there is no place like Babaldo and Shuarin in Jigawa. We all import them from Niger. Now you can see there are no different types of dates, unlike before. Look, our tables are empty. There are just few dates. It wasn't like this before. People come from Lagos to patronize us here. As the economic principle states, the higher the demand, the higher the price, especially when there is a shortage in supply, and marketers are now lamenting the unusual disruption which has been linked to the closure of the borders between Nigeria and Niger Republic. I was told that no place like Babaldo in regards to the dates business. I traveled all the way from far distance to buy dates, but the price has changed drastically. Last year we bought at 2,100 naira only, but now it's around 4,000 naira. We expect to gain, and dates business is flourishing. We still manage to make sales at the end, but honestly, not like before. We used to buy a major at 700 naira before, but now it is close to 5,000 naira. I don't know what is happening. They should open our borders. If the borders were open again, the economic direction of this country will change for the better. Since the military took over in Niger, poor people have been feeling the heat. Government should wake up and do something. For these marketers, the economic sanctions imposed by ECOWAS are suffocating their businesses as they call of the government to rethink the cost of the embargo. For now, they can only hope that things will get better in the future as they struggle to put food on the table. Adam Imam, Trust TV News, Jigawa.
You're watching Trust News Update. Coming up ahead, we'll tell you why Nigerians are lamenting the difficulty in NIN registration. More on this and many other stories coming up ahead.
It was never a consensus. We did all our best. You see, in politics, you give your contribution to the best of your ability.
If you want, I'll forward to you this statement. You go to this bank and verify.
But there are people who say not spending money is not about you in itself.
Let me finish.
But there's so much to be done.
Let me finish. Now, you don't allow me to explain myself.
The recent development shows abductions are now a factor of informants embedded in community.
It's not about the people of Katsina to say that, no, during my administration I was able to stop insecurity. No, it's about collective responsibility for all of us.
And what we should ask ourselves is not what has been seen, is the life better? Are there more people who are unemployed who are not become employed? Is the level of corruption has gone down? Is there inclusion? All those issues.
We're actually a gas country with associated oil. Our focus has always been on oil, that we have never paid significant attention to gas.
To do it effectively, we need to have honest conversation with ourselves. Government needs to come down from its higher horse and communicate with the people and build trust.
There must be a solution. We cannot continue this way. They must come back to the table and agree. So whose child will do deny education? All these children that sit for jam, they want to go to higher institutions.
But just a short while ago you were saying that why bring 10 children when you cannot cater for them? So why bring more universities when you cannot cater for the existing?
Hello viewers, welcome to another episode of Adam's Kitchen on Trust TV. Try grating it. I am going to show you how to prepare a Singaporean chicken rice. Like this. Back here and get my carrots ready. Putting some amount of oil on the skin. I will now go ahead and take off the chicken, spread it to a desired shape.
Welcome back to the news. Here's a quick reminder of our top stories. Natasha Akpoti-Oduogan takes oath of office as senator. Civil society raised concern over new resident electoral commissioners. Moving on, a cross-section of cocoa farmers in Ondo State at Olua Forest Reserve in Odigbo local government area have called on the police to provide adequate security to forestall hoodlums' attacks on cocoa farms. The farmers say the attacks on cocoa farmers are linked to the State High Court judgment restraining the state government and other defendants from accessing their farmlands. According to the farmers, an agro-allied company had laid claim to the cocoa farmlands from a lease by the state government, which led to the court injunction nullifying the lease in support of the farmers. Now, the attacks, according to the farmers, are being motivated to undermine their activities on the farmlands, leading to their request for police protection. Despite the federal government's commitment to fast-tracking a seamless process for acquiring the national identification number, applicants wait in agony due to operational challenges. The NIN has become central to the documentation processes in Nigeria, with various applications requiring citizens to provide the number for data management. So why are these technical challenges persisting? Trust TV News finds out in this report. On paper, the process is designed to be seamless and time-effective, but the reality is different. Registering for NIN has become difficult and time-consuming. Despite years of operational experience, the National Identity Management Commission is still struggling to provide a smooth process that guarantees efficiency without the usual hassle. Sharifat Abbas Tayo is an SS3 student who needs her NIN to register for the upcoming WAEC examination. She has so far missed 3 days of school, visiting the Kubwa Center for the registration without much progress.
Since I've been here since last week, it's either they say network or we came late or the people here are rude. And anytime we be here, we come by maybe 6 o'clock to ask us to go 2 o'clock when we didn't even do anything. Network is always the problem and we just don't know what to do.
I've been here since last 2 weeks. Like, the whole situation is just getting tiring and boring. And I need the name for my WAEC, and the registration is fast approaching and it's almost ending. So I just think that the government should just try and make things easier for us, because it's just frustrating. So some of us have been here since last week, even yesterday, they couldn't even attend to us.
In explaining the challenges responsible for the delay, the commission staff who spoke off camera say the difficulty is related to network challenges linked to the database, which hinders the smooth processes. Other applicants at the Kubwa Center lamented the inability of the commission to overcome the challenges and guarantee a speedy and effective registration.
These 3 days now, I've been staying here since Monday. Every time they will tell me come on early in the morning and write my name. And if I come and write my name, at the end of the day, they will tell you network is not around. So I've listened a lot.
I don't know what to do, and they say the system is down. There's no network. So if it is possible for them to call our international personnel to come and fix this network, so that we can make use of this network. Since our graduates that study networking cannot fix it, they don't call somebody internationally to come and fix this thing. I've been passing through this thing. Some people are facing a lot of challenges in the bank, but no way to access their money.
The situation in Abuja is reflective of a national phenomenon where many Nigerians are encumbered by a system that is important to national development but remains unnecessarily tedious. However, if the current repositioning of Nigeria's Interior Ministry under Olubunmi Tunji-Ojo is anything to go by, it may not be long before this challenge is surmounted. But for these applicants, the waiting game continues. To international developments now, Gaza officials say 195 Palestinians have been killed and 120 others remain missing in Israeli bombing of Jabalia refugee camp, with the United Nations saying the attacks may be disproportionate and could amount to war crimes. Meanwhile, Turkish-Palestinian Friendship Hospital, Gaza's only medical facility, serving cancer patients have been forced to shut down after running out of fuel. President Joe Biden has said the U.S. supports humanitarian pause. The first time the U.S. president affirmed this position. The Gaza Borders and Crossing Authority has released a list of 596 foreign and dual nationals who will be allowed to leave through the Rafah crossing on Thursday after a first group, including 81 critically ill patients, crossed over on Wednesday. At least 8,796 Palestinians have been killed so far in Israeli attacks since October 7, with Hamas killing 1,400 Israelis. Serbia will hold a snap election next month after President Aleksandar Vučić dissolved parliament in the face of political pressure at home and from the European Union. The parliamentary vote and parallel local elections will be held on December 17, less than 2 years after the victory of the Serbian Progressive Party at the polls. Vučić, who is in his second term as president, faces growing criticism from the political opposition and the greater public over back-to-back shootings in May this year that led to the death of 18 people. The president and his party, which has led Serbia since 2012, have been accused of protesters of promoting a culture of violence by cracking down on media and electoral freedoms. At the end of the protest, several pro-EU parties say the government had ignored protesters' demands and called for new elections. Well, from one Serbian facing political difficulty to a Serbian who has quite the remarkable sports history. Novak Djokovic began his bid for a record-extending 7th Paris Masters title with a fluent display in his first singles match in over 6 weeks. Serbia's Djokovic, who had not played since a Davis Cup match on 15th of September, won the match 6-3, 6-2 against Argentina's Thomas Martin. The 24-time major champion will face Talon Grespor in the last 16. Third seed Daniil Medvedev appeared to raise his middle finger at the crowd after he lost to Grigor Dimitrov. Medvedev reacted to being booed by French fans, having eventually buckled against the Bulgarian, who took his 7th match point to clinch 6-3, 6-7, 4-7, 7-6 and 7-2. Now, the Russians' defeat means the two leading seeds behind Djokovic are already out of the tournament, with Spanish second seed Carlos Alcaraz suffering a shock exit against 45th ranked Roman Sifulin on Tuesday. Now, Djokovic further boosted his chances of finishing above Alcaraz as the year-end #1 with his winning return to the tour. Having not played at a tour-level singles match since lifting the US title on September 10, Djokovic looked sharp throughout against world number 31, Martins. Well, Polish second seed Iga Swiatek moved within touching distance of the WTA Finals last fall after a confident win over US Open champion Coco Gauff. Former four-time major champion Swiatek, who is aged 22, won 6-love, 7-5 in a windy Cancun and has now won both of her group matches. Tunisia's own Jabbar beat 7th seed Marketa Vondrousova 6-4, 6-3. Jabbar, who lost to the Czech in this year's Wimbledon final, joins Coco Gauff with 1 win and 1 loss and plays Swiatek in her final group match. The pair last met in the US Open final when Swiatek triumphed. Well, those are the latest stories at this hour. Thank you most kindly for joining us on News Update. Feel free to follow our social media platforms to catch up with more of our content and take a look at our website, trusttv.com, for the latest news stories. My name is Abdullahi Ahmed. Thank you for your time.